My name's Tom Wheeler. I'm a regular guy, 47 years old, living in a small brick house in a quiet little town called Elmwood, Ohio. Been married to my wife, Laura, for 19 years. We've got a son, Jake, who's 16 and obsessed with video games and his beat-up skateboard. I've spent my life hauling freight for a trucking company, long hours on the road, just to keep the lights on and food on the table. We're not rolling in money, never have been, but I always figured we had a good thing going. A solid family. That was my pride, you know? Until about 3 weeks ago, when the rug got yanked out from under me in a way I never saw coming. It all started with a damn kidney stone. I'd been feeling off for a couple days, sharp pains in my side, like someone was jabbing me with a hot poker. I tried to tough it out, because that's what I do, but one night it got so bad I couldn't even stand up straight. Laura drove me to the emergency room, grumbling the whole way about how I should have gone sooner. The doc said it wasn't just a stone, it had caused a blockage, and my kidney was swelling up like a balloon ready to pop. They rushed me into surgery that same night. Let me tell you, it was no picnic. The pain before they knocked me out was something else, like my insides were staging a full-on revolt. Surgery went okay, but there was some bleeding they couldn't get under control right away, so they kept me in the hospital for a few days to monitor me. Day 2 of my stay, I'm lying there in that stiff hospital bed, doped up on painkillers, drifting in and out of consciousness. You know that fuzzy place where you're not asleep, but not all there either? That's where I was. The room was quiet except for the beeping of machines, and the door was cracked open just enough to let some hallway noise trickle in. I heard voices, familiar ones. Laura and Jake. They'd texted earlier saying they were stopping by after Jake's skate practice, maybe bringing me a burger or something since I'd been complaining about the hospital food. I was about to call out, let them know I was awake, when their words hit me like a freight train and stopped me cold. Laura's voice was low but excited, like she was sharing some big secret. Once he's gone, we'll cash in that policy and get out of this dump, she said. I'm talking a fresh start, Jake, somewhere with a pool, maybe even near the coast. My heart started pounding, but before I could even process it, Jake piped up. Good. I'm sick of acting like I give a damn about him. He's always working anyway. Barely even know him anymore. That was my boy, my kid, talking about me like I was some stranger he couldn't wait to ditch. Not if I died, but once. Like it was a done deal, and they were just waiting for the payout. I swear, it felt like someone had sucker punched me right in the chest. My whole body went numb, and not from the meds. I had maybe 5 seconds to pull myself together before they walked in. And when they did, oh man, they were good. Laura came over, smoothed my blanket, gave me that worried wife smile she's perfected over the years. How you holding up, hon? She asked, all sweet-like. Jake shuffled in behind her, carrying a greasy bag from the burger joint down the street. Got you some food, Dad. He mumbled, barely looking at me. I don't know how I did it, but I played along. Thanks, you too. Means a lot, I said, my voice weak and scratchy. Inside, though, I was screaming. They didn't stay long, maybe 15 minutes. Laura fussed over me a little more, Jake messed with his phone, and then they said they'd let me rest. I watched them leave, those fake smiles still plastered on their faces, and I just lay there, staring at the ceiling tiles. My mind was racing. Had I imagined it? The drugs they had me on were strong. Maybe I'd dreamed the whole damn thing. But it felt too real, too sharp. And then I started thinking back, little moments that hadn't seemed like much at the time. Laura asking about my life insurance last summer, all casual, wanting to make sure we're covered. Jake blowing off our fishing trips more and more, saying he had better things to do. It was like puzzle pieces clicking into place, and I didn't like the picture they were forming. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard their voices again, so calm and cold, planning their big escape once I kicked the bucket. By morning, I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just sit there and let this eat me up. So I texted my buddy Ray, he's my oldest friend, a mechanic who's been through his own share of crap. I trust him with my life. Need you to come by the hospital, I wrote. Alone. Got something to tell you. He didn't ask questions, just said he'd be there by noon. That's Ray for you. Solid as a rock. When he showed up, I spilled it all. The conversation I'd overheard, the way they'd waltzed in like nothing was wrong, how it was tearing me apart. Ray's a big guy, beard like a lumberjack, but his face went soft when I told him. You serious, Tom? He asked, like he couldn't believe it. I nodded, and he saw the look in my eyes. Knew I wasn't messing around. That's messed up, man, he said, shaking his head. What are you gonna do? I didn't have an answer yet, but I knew I needed proof. Needed to know if this was real, or if I was losing my mind. Can you poke around at the house? I asked. They're not home much tomorrow. Laura's got her yoga class. Jake's at school. I need to know what they're up to. Ray agreed. No hesitation. He's got a spare key to my place from when he watered our plants during a road trip a few years back. Said he'd check the computer, see if there was anything weird going on. I thanked him and sent him off, feeling like I'd just lit the fuse on something big. And let me tell you, I had no idea how right I was. What Ray found the next day, it was worse than I could have imagined. But that's a story for later. Right now, I was still stuck in that hospital bed, a guy who thought he had a family, realizing he might have been wrong all along. So there I was, stuck in that hospital room, feeling like my whole world had flipped upside down. I'm Tom Wheeler, 47, truck driver, husband to Laura for 19 years, dad to Jake, who's 16 going on too cool for me. After hearing them talk about cashing in my life insurance like I was some lottery ticket they couldn't wait to scratch off, I couldn't just sit there twiddling my thumbs. I'd texted my buddy Ray the day before, asked him to come by, and spilled the whole ugly mess. He was on board to help, no questions asked, and that's where we pick up. Day 3 in the hospital, waiting for answers I wasn't sure I wanted. Ray showed up around noon, just like he said he would. I was picking at a tray of lukewarm oatmeal when he walked in, his work boots clomping on the tile floor. He's a big guy, hands stained with grease from years of fixing engines, but he's got a heart bigger than most. All right, Tom, he said, pulling up a chair. Lay it out again, slow this time. I still can't wrap my head around it. So I did. Told him about Laura whispering in the hallway about moving somewhere fancy once I croaked, Jake chiming in about being done pretending to care. Ray just stared at me, jaw tight, then rubbed his beard like he does when he's thinking hard. That's cold, man, he said finally. Real cold. I asked him to snoop around my house the next day. Laura had her yoga class every Tuesday afternoon, and Jake would be at school till late with his skate crew. Ray nodded. I'll see what I can find. Computer, phone chargers, whatever's lying around. You sure about this? I wasn't sure about anything anymore, but I told him yeah, I had to know. He clapped me on the shoulder, gently, since I was still hooked up to N4, and headed out. Left me alone with my thoughts, which were spinning like tires on black ice. The next day dragged on forever. I kept my phone close, pretending to scroll through trucking forums whenever the nurses popped in, but really I was just waiting for Ray to text. Around 4 p.m., my phone buzzed. You're not gonna like this, the message read. My stomach dropped. Call me. I typed back, and a minute later, his voice was in my ear, low and serious. Tom, I went through your desktop, the one in the living room. Laura's been busy, man. Real busy. He started rattling it off. She'd been Googling stuff like, how fast do life insurance claims pay out, and recovery time for kidney surgery complications. There were tabs open for houses in some ritzy suburb called Willow Creek. Big places with 3-car garages and yards that'd take a whole weekend to mow. Stuff we couldn't dream of affording on my paycheck and her part-time gig at the craft store. Ray found emails, too. She'd been messaging some real estate lady named Karen, asking about listings, once we're ready to move forward. One email even said, shouldn't be long now, just waiting on a few things to fall into place. Ray paused, then added, she's got a folder labeled New Life. Pictures of beaches, furniture catalogs, the works. I felt sick, and not from the surgery. What about Jake? I asked, voice barely above a whisper. Ray sighed. His laptop was in his room. Password was his birthday. Kid's not exactly a mastermind. He's been texting his buddies about how he's almost free. Said once you're out of the picture, his mom's promised him a new gaming setup and a car when he turns 17. Bragged about how they're gonna live somewhere less lame than Elmwood. Ray stopped talking, and I could hear him breathing heavy on the other end. I took screenshots of everything, Tom. It's bad. Bad didn't even cover it. My wife and kid, my whole damn family, were counting down the days till I was 6 feet under, plotting their dream life with my death money. I'd taken out that policy years ago, right after Jake was born. $300,000, enough to keep them afloat if something happened to me. Never thought it'd turn into a paycheck they were itching to collect. Thanks, Ray, I managed to say. Can you send me those screenshots? He said he would, and we hung up. A minute later, my phone started pinging with images, proof of every knife they'd stuck in my back. I sat there, staring at those pictures, feeling like a fool. Laura and I had been through a lot, lean years when I was laid off, late nights when Jake was a colicky baby, even a flood that wrecked our basement 5 years back. I thought we were a team. And Jake, I taught him how to throw a football, patched up his knees when he wiped out on that skateboard, spent hours figuring out algebra with him when he was flunking 7th grade. All those memories, and now I'm just the guy there waiting to die? The rest of that day, I played a part. Laura and Jake came by again that evening, Laura with a thermos of soup she'd made, Jake with a car magazine he said might keep me busy. They sat there, chatting like everything was normal, asking about my pain levels, telling me about their day. I nodded along, forced a smile, said the soup was good. But I was watching them now, really watching. Laura kept glancing at the monitor by my bed, like she was checking my vitals herself. Jake barely looked up from his phone, probably texting his pals about that car he thinks he's getting. They left after half an hour, and I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going down like this, helpless, clueless, some chump that could just wait out. I texted Ray again. Need your help with a plan, I wrote. Something to turn this around. He replied right away. Whatever you need, man. I'm in. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do yet, but I knew one thing for sure. Laura and Jake were about to find out I wasn't as out of the game as they thought. I might have been laid up in a hospital bed, but I wasn't dead yet. And I damn sure wasn't going to let them cash me in without a fight. I'm Tom Wheeler, 47, a truck driver from Elmwood, Ohio, and I just found out my wife Laura and my 16-year-old son Jake were counting the days till I was gone so they could cash in my life insurance and ditch this life I built for them. It was day 4 in the hospital after kidney surgery, and I was still reeling from what my buddy Ray had dug up, screenshots of Laura's house hunting and Jake's text about a new car and gaming rig, all banking on my demise. I couldn't just lie there and take it. I had to fight back, and that meant getting smart, fast. Ray came by again that morning, slipping past the nurses with a cup of coffee for me, real stuff, not the watered-down junk they served in the cafeteria. I texted him the night before about needing a plan, and he was ready to brainstorm. "All right, Tom," he said, settling into the chair by my bed. "You've got the proof. What's the play?" I took a sip of that coffee, letting the warmth settle my nerves, and laid out what I'd been chewing on all night. I need to protect what's mine, money, house, all of it. And I need them to know I'm not some sucker they can just wait out. Ray nodded, scratching his beard. "You thinking lawyer?" "Yeah, I was. I didn't know much about legal stuff. My world was highways and freight schedules, but I knew a guy from my trucking days, Pete Grayson. He'd switched gears years back, went to law school, and now ran a small practice in town. Pete's solid," I told Ray. "Helped me out when a shipper stiffed me on a load once. I'll call him." Ray offered to track Pete down if I needed, but I said I'd handle it. Felt like something I had to do myself. After Ray left, I dialed Pete. He picked up on the second ring, voice gruff but friendly. "Tom Wheeler, been a while. You all right?" I gave him the short version. Surgery, hospital stay, overhearing Laura and Jake plotting over my insurance. He went quiet for a second, then let out a low whistle. "That's a hell of a mess, Tom. You got evidence?" I told him about Ray's screenshots, and he said that was a good start. "First thing, we locked down your finances. Life insurance, bank accounts, anything they could touch if you kick it. Then we figure out the long game. Can you meet when you're out?" I was getting discharged in 2 days, so we set a time for Friday at his office. Next, I called my insurance guy, Mark, who'd sold me the policy years ago. Told him I needed to update beneficiaries, urgent. He sounded confused but didn't pry. "Laura's off it," I said. "Put 70% to the veteran's home. My uncle was there before he passed, and 30% to Jake. But in a trust he can't touch till he's 25. Raise the trustee." Mark said it'd take a couple days to process, but he'd rush it. That was step 1. Laura wasn't getting a dime, and Jake wasn't getting a free ride either. The rest of the day, I played sick. Laura and Jake visited again that evening. Laura with a stack of get-well cards from her yoga pals. Jake with a half-hearted, "How you doing, Dad?" I groaned a little extra, winced when I shifted, said the docs were worried about infection. Laura's eyes lit up for a split second. Hope, maybe, before she covered it with a frown. "Oh, honey, that's awful," she said, patting my hand. Jake just nodded, eyes on his phone. I watched them, these strangers wearing my family's faces, and felt something harden inside me. They thought I was weak, fading. Good. Let them think that. Thursday, Ray swung by with more news. He'd gone back to my place while Laura was at work and Jake was at school. "Found something else," he said, holding up his phone. A photo of a bank statement. Our joint savings, about $28,000, built up from years of me skipping vacations to keep us afloat. Laura had pulled out $500 last week, spent it on a spa day with her friend Trish. Meanwhile, she'd been nagging me to cut back on my diner breakfast with the guys, $1.10 a pop. "She's living it up, Tom," Ray said. "While you're here eating Jell-O." I told him to keep that photo. It was another piece for Pete. By the time I got discharged Friday morning, I had a fire in me. Laura picked me up, all smiles, and, "Let's get you home, hon." She'd set up the couch with pillows and a blanket, said I shouldn't climb stairs yet. I thanked her, leaned on her arm like I could barely walk, and waited till she left for the grocery store to text Pete. Met him that afternoon at his office, a little brick building with a dying plant in the corner. I handed over everything, Ray's screenshots, the bank photo, a recording I'd started on my phone during their last visit, just Laura asking the nurse too many questions about my recovery odds. Pete skimmed it all, shaking his head. "This is gold, Tom. Divorce is an option, but we can do more. Push for full control of the house, your name's on the deed, right?" It was, Laura never cared about paperwork. And Jake's a minor, so custody's tricky, but we can limit her influence. I didn't want Jake gone, just wanted him to see what he'd done. Pete said we'd start with a separation filing, freeze the accounts, and build a case. "Give it a week," he said. "Keep acting frail. Let them dig deeper." So that's where I was, home, on that couch, pretending to be half dead while planning to flip the script. Laura fussed over me that night. Jake barely looked up from his game controller, and I smiled through it all, knowing they had no clue what was coming. I wasn't just protecting my stuff. I was setting up a reckoning, and it was going to hit them like a runaway semi. Here's chapter 4 of Tom Wheeler's story, keeping the same vibe. First person, simple American man, detailed and conversational, ready for AI voiceover, no abbreviations, and over 3,000 characters. We're building toward a different outcome from the original, with Tom taking control in his own way. Let's keep it rolling. Chapter 4. Playing the part. I'm Tom Wheeler, 47, a truck driver from Elmwood, Ohio, and I was a week into the strangest game of my life. After kidney surgery landed me in the hospital, I'd overheard my wife Laura and my 16-year-old son Jake plotting to cash in my life insurance once I was gone. My buddy Ray had dug up proof, screenshots, bank statements, the works, and I'd started fighting back quiet-like. Met with my lawyer Pete, changed my insurance, and now I was home, camped out on the living room couch, pretending I was still a wreck while setting up my next move. Laura was in full nurse mode that first week back, bringing me tea, fluffing pillows, asking how I felt every 5 minutes. It'd have been sweet if I didn't know she was probably hoping I'd keel over mid-sip. Jake was his usual self, grunting responses, glued to his PlayStation, only checking on me when Laura nagged him to. I played along, dragging my feet when I walked, letting out little groans when I sat down, saying stuff like, "Docs aren't sure I'm out of the woods yet." Laura's face would tighten for a second, disappointment. Maybe, before she'd plaster on that concerned look. "You just rest, Tom," she'd say. "We'll take care of you." Yeah, right? Meanwhile, I was busy behind the scenes. Pete had filed for a legal separation Monday morning, nothing public yet, just paperwork to lock down my half of everything. He'd also gotten a freeze on our joint savings, $28,000 that Laura couldn't touch till a judge sorted it out. I'd moved $14,000 into a new account at a credit union across town, all legal since it was my share. The teller, a young guy with a buzz cut, asked if I was okay. Guess I looked rough, still pale from surgery. Just making some changes, I told him, and he didn't push it. Ray was my eyes and ears. He'd swing by every couple days, pretending to drop off tools or fix something around the house. Laura liked him being there, less for her to do, and she'd chat him up about her yoga class or Trish's new boyfriend. Ray'd nod along, then sneak me updates. Tuesday, he caught Laura on the phone in the garage, talking to Trish. "He's still weak," she said, voice low. "Might be soon. I'm looking at a condo in Willow Creek next week." Ray scribbled it down, handed me the note later. Wednesday, he found Jake's sketchbook under the couch, kids always doodling. Inside was a drawing of a slick black car, labeled "Mine when Dad's gone." Ray snapped a picture. More fuel for Pete's fire. I started recording stuff myself, too. Kept my phone handy. Hit record whenever they were around. Caught Laura muttering to herself Thursday night while she washed dishes. Thought I was asleep. "Can't keep living like this," she said. "Need that fresh start." Friday, Jake was on a call with his buddy Kyle, laughing about how he'd finally get a real room once they moved. I saved every clip, sent them to Pete. He said it wasn't courtroom gold, but it'd help paint the picture. The hardest part was keeping up the act. I'd spent 19 years with Laura. Met her at a diner when I was 28, her pouring coffee, me hauling lumber. We'd scraped by together, raised Jake in that little brick house I'd fixed up myself. I remembered her laughing at my dumb jokes, holding my hand when my mom passed from a stroke 6 years back. Jake, I'd built him a tree house when he was 8, cheered at his peewee football games, even if he sucked at it. Now, every memory felt like a lie. But I couldn't let on, not yet. Had to stay the broken guy they expected. By Saturday, I'd had enough pretending. Called Ray over while Laura was at the craft store, and Jake was skating at the park. "I'm done waiting," I told him, sitting up straighter than I had all week. "Pete's got the separation moving, money's safe. I want to hit them with it now." Ray raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" Pete said give it time. I shook my head. Time's just letting them dream bigger. I want them to know I know, see their faces when it sinks in. Ray grinned. That slow, troublemaker grin he's had since we were kids. "All right, man. How you pulling it off?" I laid out my idea, a sit-down, just the three of us. No big dinner, no fuss, just me laying out the truth. I'd show them the screenshots, play the recordings, tell them the insurance was gone, the money split. No yelling, I said. Just facts. Let them squirm. Ray liked it. "Need backup?" he asked. I told him to stay close. Park down the street, come in if I texted. He nodded, clapped my shoulder. "You're tougher than you look, Tom." That night, I set it up. Laura was folding laundry. Jake was sprawled on the floor with his controller. "Hey," I said, voice shaky like I was still weak. "Can we talk tomorrow? Just us? Maybe noon." Laura looked surprised but shrugged. "Sure, hon, what's up?" I forced a tired smile. "Just some family stuff. Been thinking a lot." Jake glanced up, rolled his eyes. "Fine, whatever." They didn't suspect a thing. I barely slept, running it through my head. What I'd say, how they'd react. Sunday morning, I showered, put on a clean shirt, not the ratty tees I'd been wearing, combed my hair for the first time in days. Laura noticed, asked if I was feeling better. "A little," I said, keeping it vague. Jake stumbled in late, hair a mess, still half asleep. By noon, we were in the living room, me on the couch, them on the recliner and floor. My phone was ready, evidence stacked in a folder Ray had dropped off. I took a deep breath. Time to drop the hammer. I'm Tom Wheeler, 47, a truck driver from Elmwood, Ohio, and I'd reached the breaking point. After kidney surgery put me in the hospital, I caught my wife Laura and my 16-year-old son Jake scheming over my life insurance, planning a big getaway once I was out of the picture. My buddy Ray had dug up the dirt, screenshots, recordings, bank statements, and I'd spent a week back home playing the sick guy while locking down my money with my lawyer Pete. Now it was Sunday, noon, and I was done pretending. Time to face them head on. We were in the living room. Me on the couch. Laura in the recliner flipping through a magazine. Jake sprawled on the floor with his skateboard propped against the wall. I'd asked them last night for this talk, kept it vague, and they'd shrugged it off like it was nothing. My heart was thumping, but I kept my face calm, tired looking, like the weak guy they thought I still was. Folder of evidence sat next to me, phone in my pocket with all the recordings. Ray was parked a block away, ready if I needed him. I cleared my throat, loud enough to get their attention. Hey guys, I started voice low. Been doing a lot of thinking since the hospital. About us, you know, as a family. Laura glanced up, gave me that half smile she'd been faking all week. That's sweet, Tom. You feeling okay? Jake didn't even look, just nodded like he was humoring me. I leaned forward, wincing a little for show, then pulled the folder into my lap. Yeah, about that. Day 3 in the hospital, I heard something. You too, out in the hall, talking about what happens when I'm gone. Laura's smile froze. Jake's head snapped up, eyes wide for a second before he tried to play it cool. What are you talking about, Dad? He mumbled. I didn't answer right away, just opened the folder, slid out the first screenshot Ray had sent. Laura's search history, life insurance payout times. I held it up. This ring a bell? Or how about this one, emails to a realtor about Willow Creek condos, once we're ready. Laura's face went pale, magazine slipping to the floor. I kept going, pulled out Jake's text to Kyle. Car's mine when Dad's gone. His jaw tightened, but he didn't say a word. I recorded you, too, I said, pulling my phone out. Hit play on Laura's muttering from the kitchen. Need a fresh start. Then Jake's call, real room once we move. The room went dead quiet after that, just the hum of the fridge in the background. Laura stared at me, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Jake shifted, pulled his knees up, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. I let it sink in, then laid out the rest. Insurance has changed, I said, voice steady now. Laura, you're off it. 70% goes to the veteran's home, 30% to Jake in a trust he can't touch till he's 25. Ray's in charge of it. Savings? Split it. My half's in a new account. Pete's filed for separation. Laura, house is in my name, so we'll see how that shakes out. I've got everything, proof you've been waiting for me to die so you can cash in and run. I tossed the folder onto the coffee table, papers spilling out. So that's where we're at. Laura broke first. Tom, you've got it all wrong, she stammered, hands twisting in her lap. I was just planning ahead, you know, in case something happened. I didn't mean I cut her off. In case? You said once, Laura. Like it's a sure thing. And Jake, you're sick of acting like you care? That's what I am to you. Jake's face went red, eyes darting to the floor. I didn't. It was just talk, Dad. I was mad or something. They both started at once then, Laura blaming stress, saying I'd never given her enough, that she deserved better after 19 years. Jake mumbling apologies, claiming he didn't mean it, that he'd been caught up in Laura's plans. I let them ramble, their voices overlapping, excuses piling up like junk in a garage. When they finally ran out of steam, I stood up, slow, but not as weak as they thought. Here's the deal, I said. Laura, you've got till the end of the month to find somewhere else. Separation's moving forward. Pete says you won't get much with all this evidence. Jake, you're staying here with me. You're 16, Court will let you choose, but I'm not letting her drag you off to some condo with my money. Laura's eyes flashed. You can't take my son. His shoes. Laura tried again, softer now. Tom, we're a family. We can fix this, talk it out. I almost laughed. Family doesn't bet on each other dying. Laura, you made your choice. I grabbed my keys off the table, had my truck parked out front, hadn't driven it since surgery, but I was done sitting still. I'm heading to Ray's for a bit, I said. Think it over. Jake, you've got till tonight to decide. Laura started crying then, big messy sobs, but I didn't look back. Walked out, climbed into my truck, and drove off. Ray was waiting at his place, beer in hand. How'd it go? He asked. I took the bottle, sat on his porch steps. Told them everything. Laura's out. Jake's got a choice to make. Ray nodded. You're a better man than me, Tom. I'd have torched it all. I didn't feel better, not yet. But I'd taken back control, and that was something. Jake's decision was still up in the air, and Laura'd fight. I knew it. But for the first time in weeks, I wasn't the one in the dark. They were. I'm Tom Wheeler, 47, a truck driver from Elmwood, Ohio, and I just turned my life upside down. After catching my wife Laura and my 16-year-old son Jake plotting to cash in my life insurance post-surgery, I'd spent a week gathering proof with my buddy Ray and my lawyer Pete, then dropped it all on them in a Sunday showdown. Told Laura she was out by month's end, told Jake he could stay with me or go with her and get nothing. Now it was late Sunday afternoon, and I was at Ray's place, nursing a beer on his porch, waiting to see how the dust settled. Ray sat next to me, tinkering with a carburetor he'd pulled from some junker in his garage. You think Jake'll stay? He asked, not looking up. I shrugged, staring at the street where kids were riding bikes like nothing was wrong in the world. Dunno. He's 16, stubborn as hell, but he's not dumb. Laura's got no money to give him now, and he knows it. Ray grunted. And her? She gonna lawyer up? I took a swig of beer. Probably. Pete says she's got no leg to stand on, but she'll try. Always been good at playing victim. My phone buzzed at Jake. Can we talk? Alone. It read. I texted back. Meet me at the diner on Main. 6 p.m. Didn't want him at Ray's, didn't want Laura tagging along. Ray offered to drive me, but I said I'd take my truck. Needed to feel the wheel in my hands, like I was steering something again. Drove slow, still sore from surgery, but it felt good to move. Out of the diner early, grabbed a booth in the back, ordered a coffee. Place smelled like grease and pie, same as always, comforting in a weird way. Jake walked in at 6 sharp, hoodie up, skateboard under his arm. He slid into the booth, didn't meet my eyes. Hey, he mumbled. Hey, I said back, sipping my coffee. Waited him out, he'd talk when he was ready. Took a minute, but he finally looked up. I'm sorry, Dad. For what I said, what I did. It was stupid. His voice cracked, and I saw his hand shake a little. Mom kept talking about this big life, new house, car, all that. I got caught up. Didn't think it'd hurt you. I leaned back, studying him. Could look like me, same brown eyes, same jaw, but right now, he was just a scared boy. You said I was nothing to you, Jake. That you were done caring. Hurt's not even the word. He flinched, nodded. I know. I didn't mean it, not really. I was mad at you being gone all the time, at this house, this town. Mom made it sound like it'd all be better without you. He stopped, rubbed his face. I don't want that now. I want to stay with you. I didn't say anything right away, just let it hang there. Part of me wanted to hug him, tell him it was okay. Part of me wanted to shake him, ask how he could have been so cold. You sure? I asked finally. This ain't a game, Jake. You stay, you're with me, no fancy condo, no car. Just us, figuring it out. He nodded fast. Yeah, I'm sure. Mom's, she's different now. Yelling all the time, blaming me. I don't want that. I believed him, saw it in his eyes, that flicker of the kid I used to know. All right, I said. You're with me. But trust's gone, kid. You've got to earn it back. Help around the house, talk to me. No more of this. Waiting for Dad to die crap. He swallowed hard, said, I will. Promise. We sat there a bit longer, me drinking coffee, him picking at a napkin. Wasn't fixed, not even close, but it was a start. Told him to pack a bag, meet me at home later. He left, and I called Ray to fill him in. Kid's coming around, I said. Ray chuckled. Told you he's not dumb. Back home that night, Laura was a storm. Met me at the door, eyes red, voice sharp. You turned him against me, Tom. Told him lies. I held up a hand. He heard you, Laura. Same as I did. He chose. You've got till the 30th, start packing. She screamed, then called me a bastard, said I'd regret it, that she'd fight for the house, the money, Jake. I didn't bite, just walked past her to the kitchen, grabbed a water, let her tire herself out. Jake came in an hour later, bag over his shoulder, went straight to his room. Laura glared at him, then me, but she didn't follow. Monday, Pete called. Separation papers were served. Laura got them at her craft store job, apparently made a scene. She's got a lawyer, Pete said. Cheap one, though. With your evidence, she's got no shot at much. How'll likely stay yours, judge will see her intent. I thanked him, felt a weight lift. Tuesday, I went back to work. Light duty, just dispatching, but it got me out. Jake started pitching in, mowed the lawn without me asking, quiet but there. Laura kept calling, texting threats, apologies, all of it. I answered once, told her to deal with Pete, then blocked her. By week's end, she'd rented a one-bedroom across town. Trisha's cousin hooked her up. Moved out Friday, left the house a mess, took half the dishes like it was a win. Jake and I cleaned up, ordered pizza, watched a dumb action flick. This okay? I asked him, mid-movie. He nodded, small smile. Yeah, Dad. It's okay. Wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Laura had lost her bet on me dying, and I'd kept my kid. That was enough for now. I'm Tom Wheeler, 47, a truck driver from Elmwood, Ohio, and it's been 6 months since my world got flipped on its head. Kidney surgery led me to overhear my wife Laura and my 16-year-old son Jake plotting to cash in my life insurance once I was gone. With help from my buddy Ray and my lawyer Pete, I turned the tables, changed the insurance, split the money, faced them down, and kept my house and my kid. Laura's out, Jake's with me, and now I'm standing in a life I barely recognize, but one I'm starting to like. The divorce finalized last week. Pete worked magic. Laura's lawyer tried to spin her as the wronged wife, but the screenshots, recordings, and Jake's choice to stay with me shut that down fast. She got nothing but her car and a few grand from savings. Judge saw her waiting for me to die as intent to profit from harm, Pete said. She's in that one bedroom across town now, working full-time at the craft store, griping to anyone who'll listen that I ruined her. Mutual friends split. Some bought her sob story. Some saw the truth after I showed them the evidence. My sister Ellen calls every Sunday, says Laura's still spinning tales, but I don't care much. That chapter's closed. The house is mine, free and clear. Laura didn't fight hard for it. Couldn't, really, with my name on the deed and her plans laid bare. Jake and I've been fixing it up, painted the living room last month, a blue he picked, not the beige Laura always wanted. He's been different since the diner talk, quieter, but present. Helps with chores, cooks eggs sometimes, even sits with me for football on Sundays. Last week, he asked if we could fix his skateboard ramp out back. First time he's wanted to do something with me in years. Sure, kid, I said, and we spent Saturday hammering boards, laughing when I nailed my thumb instead. It's not like before, trust's still thin, but it's growing. Work steady again. I'm back driving short hauls, no overnights, so I'm home for Jake. The guys at the depot heard whispers about my blow-up. Ray's got a big mouth, but they don't pry. Just slap my back. Say, good to have you back, Wheeler. Money's tight with just my paycheck, but I sold Laura's old treadmill she never used, put that toward a used couch that doesn't smell like hospital. Jake's trust is set, 30% of the insurance if I go, locked till he's 25. He knows it's there, knows Ray's watching it. I don't need it, Dad, he said once. Just don't die, okay? I laughed, first real laugh in months. Laura's tried reaching out. Letters at first, long ones, blaming me, then begging for another chance. I burned them in the backyard pit, watched the smoke curl up. Then calls, blocked her number after she left a voicemail crying about how lonely she was. Jake gets texts sometimes, short ones asking how he is. He shows me, answers with, I'm fine, nothing more. She's different, he told me last month, tossing his phone on the counter. Keeps saying she's sorry, but it's weird. I nodded. She's sorry she lost, not sorry she did it. He didn't argue. Ray's still my rock. Comes over Fridays with beer and burgers, sits on the porch while I grill. You're doing all right, Tom, he said last time, grease on his shirt from a sloppy bite. Better than I'd be. I shrugged. Had to. Couldn't let them win. He grinned, raised his bottle. To not being dead yet. I clinked mine against it. Damn right. Ellen visited too, brought her kids, filled the house with noise. She hugged me tight, said, you're tougher than you think. Maybe she's right. Jake started his junior year, joined the shop class instead of skating all day. Brought home a birdhouse he made, rough but solid, set it on the kitchen table. For you, he mumbled, ears red. I hung it out back, watched a sparrow move in last week. He's still got attitude. Slams his door sometimes, grumbles about homework, but he's here. Last night, we were eating takeout, and he said, thanks, Dad, for not giving up on me. Caught me off guard, choked on my soda, coughed it out. Never would, kid, I said. Minute. So here I am, 47, single, living in a half-painted house with a teenage son who's finding his way back to me. Not where I thought I'd be after 19 years with Laura, but it's real. No more faking it, no more wondering who's in my corner. Ray, Jake, Ellen, they're my people now. Laura bet on me dying, lost everything. I bet on myself, kept what matters. Yesterday, I drove past the diner, saw the sun setting over Main Street, felt something like peace. Life's not perfect, never was, but it's mine, and I'm driving it my way. That's enough.